April 2026. Glaucoma Trial Launches, a Global Landscape Review. Glaucoma is a leading cause of irreversible blindness worldwide. An estimated 76 million people had glaucoma in 2020, with that number projected to exceed 111 million by 2040. Most glaucoma treatments work by lowering intraocular pressure, IOP, the fluid pressure inside the eye, but new therapies aim to protect nerve cells and preserve vision. In April 2026, dozens of new glaucoma clinical trials officially began in registries around the world. ClinicalTrials.gov, CTRI, ISRCTN, ANZCTR, CTRI, ChiCTR, ICTRP. These trials span a range of intervention types, including new medications, implants and devices, surgical procedures, and digital health tools, and together paint a picture of current research priorities. New trials by modality. The April 2026 trials can be grouped by their main intervention modality, drug medication trials. The largest category remains medication studies. These include novel eye drops that lower IOP, for example, new prostaglandin analogs or Rho kinase inhibitors, as well as systemic drugs being repurposed. Recent years have seen interest in metabolic and neuroprotective agents, for example, trials of oral diabetes drugs, GLP-1 agonists, or vitamins that may protect retinal nerve cells. Some trials involve sustained-release formulations, tiny implants that slowly release IOP-lowering drugs. For instance, one ongoing Phase 2 study is testing a tiny biodegradable implant, TMO-D, that slowly releases the glaucoma drug timolol. Overall, most new trials are early-stage, Phase 2 safety and efficacy studies of such medications and delivery systems. Device trials. A substantial portion of trials involve medical devices and implants. This includes micro-invasive glaucoma surgery, MIGS devices, drainage stents and shunts, and laser or ultrasound systems to improve outflow. Examples might be trials of new canaloplasty implants or trabecular bypass stents, or innovative lasers like excimer laser trabeculotomy that create tiny drains in the trabecular meshwork. Many device trials test ways to restore the eye's natural drainage, e.g., new iris-to-canal shunts, or to replace medications with implants. These often require surgical implantation, but are generally less invasive than traditional trabeculectomy. Surgical and procedural trials. Some studies focus on surgical techniques rather than implants. These include comparisons of different glaucoma surgeries, for example, combined cataract glaucoma procedures versus standard surgery, or novel approaches like minimally penetrative trabeculotomies. A few are evaluating high-intensity focused ultrasound or other non-implant procedures to lower IOP. In practice, there is overlap with device trials, since many surgical trials involve an implanted device. Digital and diagnostic trials. A growing niche is digital health. These trials evaluate tools like smartphone perimetry apps, home tonometry devices, AI algorithms for image screening, or telemedicine programs for remote care. For example, a recent trial is using an AI system to flag glaucoma from routine retinal photos in primary care clinics. A systematic review found 21 published studies of home-based glaucoma monitoring tools, portable visual field tests, and tonometers, all showing results closely matching in-clinic tests. The review concluded that telemonitoring tools are feasible and cost-effective, helping to reduce patient travel and waiting times. In April 2026, several new studies launched to integrate AI screening and remote monitoring into glaucoma care pathways. Trial phases, sponsors, and patient groups. Most new trials are early phase, Phase 1 or 2 studies focusing on safety and proof of concept, with fewer large Phase 3 trials. Industry and academia both play a role. Pharmaceutical and device companies often sponsor larger trials, while academic centers and hospitals frequently lead exploratory or investigator-initiated studies. For example, companies like Alcon Novartis, Santen, Polyactiva, and Glarus Bio are involved in drug-device trials, while university hospitals, Copenhagen, Moorfields, UCL London, etc., and neurosurgery groups are running others. Nonprofits and research consortia also participate, e.g. Moorfields UCL studying vitamin therapies. Trials typically enroll adults with various glaucoma types. Primary open-angle glaucoma, OAG, and ocular hypertension, OHT, are the most common inclusion criteria, since these are widespread and have well-defined pressure endpoints. Several trials explicitly include OHT alongside POAG. For instance, one investigational eye drop, QLS-111, has been tested in patients with POAG or OHT and is even being evaluated for normal tension glaucoma, NTG, in a phase 2 study. A normal tension trial like this reflects interest in neuroprotective strategies, since NTG patients don't have high pressure to lower. Pseudoexfoliation glaucoma, PXG, and other subtypes are less commonly singled out, though they are often included under open-angle categories. We found few or no trials starting in April 2026 dedicated solely to PXG or angle closure glaucoma. Study design and locations. The new trials vary widely in size and scope. Many early-phase studies enroll only a few dozen patients to test safety and preliminary efficacy, while larger phase 3 trials may plan for several hundred participants. In general, multi-center and international designs are common for larger trials, whereas small device or pilot studies may run at just one or a few academic sites. Registries indicate these new studies are being launched globally. North America, Europe, and East Asia are especially active. For example, one summary noted trials occurring in Denmark, Portugal, the UK, Malaysia, and Australia. The World Health Organization notes that China and Japan, the Western Pacific region, now lead the world in clinical trial registrations. So it is likely many of the April 2026 studies are based there as well. In contrast, low-income regions, e.g. most of Africa, still see very few glaucoma trials. In short, April 2026 trials have a broad geographic spread, many in the US, EU countries, and Asia, and fewer in Africa or South America. Emerging trends and remaining gaps. The profile of the April 2026 trials mirrors broader trends in glaucoma research. Traditional IOP-lowering therapies are still well represented, but there is a clear shift toward novel mechanisms and delivery systems. In particular, several new trials are testing neuroprotective metabolic strategies, such as supplements or systemic agents to support retinal ganglion cells, reflecting growing interest in protecting vision beyond just lowering pressure. Sustained-release drug delivery, implants, and depot systems also features strongly. At the same time, digital health is a rising theme. As noted above, trials of AI-based screening and at-home monitoring aim to catch disease earlier and reduce the need for office visits. Device innovation continues as well, with new MIGS implants and drainage devices in the pipeline. However, some gaps remain. Notably, gene and cell therapies for glaucoma have not yet entered human trials. A recent review observed that gene and cell therapies are not yet in patient trials for glaucoma, and no gene editing studies, for example targeting myocilin mutations, began in 2025. Large-scale outcome trials that measure long-term vision loss remain rare, likely due to the many years needed to show visual field results. Most studies still use IOP or short-term biomarkers as endpoints. In summary, the April 2026 launches reflect a global research landscape that combines many tried-and-true approaches, IOP-lowering drugs and surgeries, with innovative angles, neuroprotection, long-acting implants, and AI screening. Patients and clinicians should watch for the results of these studies in the coming years, as they may bring new treatments and tools to improve glaucoma care. References: World Health Organization clinical trial data, global glaucoma burden, pipeline reviews, telemedicine review, analysis of recent trials, among others. All links to sources are available in the text version of this article. You can find the full article at visualfieldtest.com. Thanks for listening. To check your visual field, click the link at the bottom of this article or visit visualfieldtest.com.